So, last class we are discussing about that PEO and PO, program educational objective and program outcome. PEO, program educational outcome, PEO and PO. PO are generally is come from NBA or Washington guidelines, and PO are the that depends on mission vision of the institute, which we have discussed. Now, this program outcome, which is a set of, you can say, the PSO, program specific outcome, which may consist that PO, there is a 12 PO of as per NBA or Washington Records guideline, there is 12 PO. Out of 12, there is 5 PO which are domain specific and 7 are domain independent. So, if it is domain specific PO, when you write for the specific domain, then it is called PSO, program specific outcome, okay? And domain independent POs are there, which is communication skill, ethics, project management, finance, lifelong learning, environment sustainability, all are there. Now, how this is okay, I have written down how this is made. So, if I say the PSO, how this PSO will be satisfied, fulfilled? By offering different courses. So, courses will be offered to match this PSO. So, every course must have outcome. So, every course there is a course outcome which is called CO, course outcome, or we said course instructional objective. We write the outcome in term of instructional objective. So, course instructional objective or course outcome. So, every course must have 5 to 6 COs, typically 5 to 6 COs, which are major takeaway by the students at the end of the course. So, what is course outcome or course objective or course instructional objective in the software, which I will demonstrate? There is called course objective, which is nothing but a course instructional objective. So, at the end of the course, what are the major takeaway by the students? That is called CO, course outcome or course instructional objective. So, every course, whatever I course write, must associated with 5 to 6 major outcome, which will be written in term of ISD, instructional system design. So, suppose for B engineer, if I see the PSO or PO as per NBA and Washington Accords, who said that B engineer must able to formulate, design, conceptualize model, solve problem, evaluate. So, all kinds of term. Now, if I write a course objective, course outcome or course objective which is only able to describe, define something, student will able to define Maxwell equation. That is okay, that is maybe a lecture outcome, maybe a module outcome, but not course outcome. So, as per the accreditation purpose, you require only course outcome. But if we want to teach your class in effectively or whatever the problem I have mentioned in the beginning of this course, that how to engage the students, how to develop the skill of the students, how to teach a large classroom. So, for if I want to do that, then I have to develop the entire course in terms of this structure: course outcome, course overview, course level test item, then there will be a course consist of several module, there is a module outcome, module overview, module level test item and module learning strategy, and every module is divided into unit outcome, unit summary and unit level test item. Okay. So, if you if you visit the software framework, which I will demonstrate later on also, then this has to be developed. Once you develop this entire document, if it is available to the students before they come to the class, then that can increase the student engagement, which I have already mentioned. So, this is the purpose for this developing this framework. And now I come to again to that NBA side, where you may say that there is some challenge that CO PO mapping, PO PEO mapping. So, those I will come. First I will discuss how to write the course objective or course outcome. So, this is an example course outcome. Given an English language problem description, course name is Introduction to Algorithm Design. Now, if you see this whole objective, there if you see the how many action verbs are there? Define, examine, develop and justify. So, define may be knowledge level, examine may be analysis level, develop may be synthesis level or application level, and synthesis level, justify is the evaluation level. So, Bloom, as per the Bloom taxonomy cognition level, the objective is in evaluation level. So, when I am writing a course outcome, it may contain more than one action verb. So, it is as define, examine, develop and justify. But the cognitive level of the outcome depends on the highest action verb cognitive level. Now, if you see what is the condition component of this problem, this outcome, given an English language problem description, this is given to the student. So, that is the condition component. Maybe criteria component is not there. So, I said a objective, when you write down the achievable and specific, and if you add the criteria component, it makes more achievable. So, when you writing that course outcome, you should think in mind within, so 5 to 6, I said 5 to 6 course outcome. So, 5 to 6 major takeaway by the student at the end of the course, which is achievable. So, what is the course? Let's course duration is consist of 40 lectures. So, if the course is 40 lecture, within this 40 lecture, what are the major takeaway by the students, which is specific, which is measurable and which is achievable. So, I have to think in mind, if this is my course name, this is my course. So, this course has these 5 to 6 major outcome and which can be achieved within this 40 lecture. Is okay or not? And this skill will contribute your PSO. So, this course outcome will contribute to your PSO. If we design the entire course in CO, then module and then unit, this will provide you to teach the course or teaching learning process in some different way, which will help you to develop the domain independent PSO also while teaching this domain dependent course. Okay. So, you have to develop the entire course in this framework, and your CO will directly contribute to the program specific outcome. Also, which is not explicitly mentioned in this CO, But while teaching this course, teaching learning process may contribute to the domain independent PO, communication skill, learning to learn, all kinds of things. I show you some example of the course outcome. This is the course outcome which I have written for my course. So, these three outcomes are only, so I have, this course is for, let us 40 lecture course, but this outcome is written for 20, half of this course, acoustics part of the course, not entire course. There will be two part, one is acoustic, another is called acoustic instrument like amplifier, microphone, loudspeaker, that I have not included here. So, for the first part, acoustic part, I have written three outcomes. Given the specification of an acoustic room, that may be large room or small room, determine the reverberation time, mean free path, number of reflection per second, room modes and minimum volume for large room acoustic. So, those are the performance component. What is given? Condition component, given the specification of acoustics room. Given the specification of an auditorium or studio requirement, list the acoustical requirement and design the acoustical part of the auditorium or studio. So, list, design are the performance component. Given the specification for an auditorium or studio requirement is the condition component. Third one, determine the sound reflection, transmission, absorption coefficient for a given acoustic source and condition. So, condition is given, you have to perform this, and which is achievable within this course. I have not write down the student will be able to design an aeroplane. It is impossible for a course to design an aeroplane. Understand or not? So, this is achievable, I have write down. Similarly, I show you some objective written by many the other people have written some course objective in my other run of this course. If you see AC DC power measurement compare. So, course outcome or course objective is not a single line statement. It is a full, you can say, the statement of something which is specific, measurable and achievable. If I say AC DC power measurement compare, it is measurable, but it is not specific, not achievable. I do not know whether it is achievable or not in a single course. Induction motor operate. So, you want to say operate induction motor to the learner. Is it a course outcome? Cannot be. So, objective are measurable, but not specific and achievable within the course. Solve torque equation of IM. I do not know what order, what complexity, nothing is mentioned in outcome. Synchronous generator illustrate, which may not be required for a BE engineer. Evaluate the circuit. What is the meaning of the evaluation? So, those are not the course outcome, those are not the process to write the course outcome. You have to write down the course outcome, that means what will be given to the students, what they have to perform, up to what level. So, skill means at the end of the course, these kinds of problem will given to you. You have to solve, design, analyze, calculate, whatever. You have to do that up to this level, up to this complexity. So, I am not saying that single course will develop very complex skill to the students, but every course must develop a skill and that skill contribute. So, similarly, if you see other objective not learner centric, like provide student necessary background to analyze language processor. Is it a course outcome? It is not learner centric, it is teacher centric. Teacher said that I will provide you, but that does not require. We want learner centric. What students able to do? apply the basic concept of electronics. Again it is totally student centric. See the basic, different, such as, all those words are not specific. So, if I say my objective is specific, so I have to avoid all those words. Basic concept. I know what do you mean by basic, but a student, a learner does not know what is the meaning of basic. So, instead of apply the basic concept of electronics, again it is not an application level. I apply. What happened? So, apply the basic concept of electronics is not the course outcome. To understand and identify and use SQL. So, understand is not measurable. If I say identify and use of SQL to query, update and manage a database, what kind of database, what complexity, what kind of complexity SQL query, nothing is mentioned. So, like that solve differential equation, nothing is mentioned, you can solve anything, you can solve second order, you can solve third order, nothing is mentioned. So, while I am teaching writing a course outcome, it should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be achievable. Okay? Next, see the cognitive level is not proper in this course objective. Define big data and analytics. If this is my one of the course outcome, then is anybody interested to do this course? Define big data and analytics, okay, it can be done in one class, but at the end of the class, if this is my takeaway, then I am not interested to do that course. So, this is not the major outcome. So, cognitive level, define big data, define is the knowledge level, is not proper for a course outcome. Define the phases of compiler, it is not proper for course outcome. You may say, unless they will define how they will solve it, I am not denying it. I am saying course outcome are the major takeaway by the students. So, those are the major outcome. There may be many things they have to know to achieve the major outcome. So, those are the side product. So, those may be a unit objective or unit outcome or module outcome, not course outcome. Explain basic architecture of 8085. See, the engineer job is only to explain course outcome or the major outcome. So, if I say I am teaching a course on 8085 and they only know how explain the basic architecture of 8085, then they are not BE engineer, or I am not teaching for a BE engineer. So, if I say that I am teaching for a BE engineer, that means my level should be, they should be able to solve, design, write, they should be able to evaluate, they should be able to synthesize, develop all kinds of things, not explain, describe. Explain, describe, they will automatically they will be able to do. So, if a student is able to design and develop, it is assumed that unless he is able to explain and describe, he cannot design and develop. So, I want that skill. So, explain, describe are already known by the student. Those do not have to mention in the course outcome. So, those may be a unit outcome, class objective. One class I can say that this is the today's class objective is that explain. After this class you will be able to explain the basic architecture of 8085. Okay. So, this is course objective are not in proper design. Cognitive level is not correct. If you see, apply law of EM waves like this wave, this law to different change configuration like this. So, this objective cognitive level is not correct. Apply Newton's second law of motion is not application level. This is the means or based on. So, if I say apply Newton's second law of motion is not an application level. This is a based on, this is the means. So, I can say calculate force for a given mass and acceleration is application level based on Newton's law of motion. That is why the cognitive level is not correct in this objective. Similarly, not specific. Compute different parameter like many times we say that write the difference between A and B. Now, see the different word is so vulnerable. Some student means the difference, see write one difference. Some student write 3 difference, some student write 2 different, some student write 5 difference. Who will give, when you evaluate, suppose you give the maximum marks who write the 5 difference. Now, student 1 may come and say, sir, you do not mention how many difference I have to write. You write difference, you have said write difference between A and B. You never said write 2 difference, write 3 difference. So, different parameter like surface potential related to EM wave. So, this is in your opinion. Instead of doing that, explain what do you mean by different parameter. So, instead of writing that, I can write compute parameter in bracket A, B, C, D, E, F for a given this kind of specification. Outline the power electronics recognize. So, if you see the various power semiconductor like power diode, so all are like nothing but a description. Design the firing circuit. What is, what level, what complexity? Choose appropriate switches for various application. What do you mean by various? Many people are right. Apply theory for real life application. What do you mean by real life application? Is it specific? Is it achievable? Is it measurable? So, you have to mention this is given, you have to perform this up to this complexity. You can say design firing circuit of given this kind of specification, mention the complexity. Choose appropriate switch. So, you can say that given this specification of switching requirement, you should be able to identify the switches, and if I say the design of the switches, you can say that they will be able to design the switches using MOSFET, whatever it is required. So, course outcome and course, or you can say the course, so outcome and objective in our case is same, but many people say the objective is the goal and outcome is the output. In our case we said course outcome written in instructional objective method. So, how you write is called instructional objective, and once you write the instructional objective, this is nothing but the outcome of the course, that students has to be do it for at the end of the course. He has to demonstrate that action, that skill. To introduce about optimum design, and so you said to introduce. So, it is a learner centric, it is a teacher centric, it is not learner centric. Apprise the microcontroller architecture. What is the meaning? No meaning. So, I have to write down each and every outcome, whether it is course level, whether it is module level and unit level, in specific, measurable and achievable term. Unless it is specific, measurable and achievable, outcomes are not, purpose of the whole outcome based education is gone. So, in outcome based education I said, like another example, not achievable, determine the dynamic force in engineering mechanism, like that design an aeroplane, design a ship. design an AC machine is achievable. So, I repeatedly said that when you write your course outcome, just summarize that things. So, course outcome are the major takeaway or the major skill which will be demonstrated by the students, not you, not teachers. It will be demonstrated by the student at the end of the course. So, if I teach any course, so at the end of the course, what are the major skill I have developed on the students? Maybe A, B, C, D I can write down, which is specific, measurable and achievable. Once I am able to write down, and which is specific, so different, appropriate, such as, understand, all terms are excluded. Difference, you explicitly mention what do you mean by difference. You explicitly mention what do you mean by basic. So, outcome or instructional objective is not a single line statement, it may be a paragraph. It may contain 2 to 5, 6 lines, 7 lines and 8 lines, but after end or after read that instruction, as a learner I should able to figure out my end activity without any hesitation. So, I do not know what teacher will ask me, that will be not happen. This is given at the end of the course, you have to perform this up to this level. If you want to teach effectively, you design your course outcome, then module outcome, then unit outcome, then whatever I mentioned, I have the method to design the entire course using this software program. I will demonstrate you, which will be eventually you are doing it at the end of the course. Once you done that, give it to the students before they come to the class, then teach reversibly whatever I explained, which will increase the student engagement, increase the lifelong learning, increase that large classroom teaching, so problem will be solved. So, all problem to need of 21st century education will be solved if you do like this way. Okay? Thank you.